Hey guys, Larry Becker here, and I want to talk to you about a new class of cameras that people refer to as mirrorless. Now, this class of cameras has only been around for a couple of years, but it takes the best of point-and-shoot cameras that we all know and love and the best of DSLR cameras, and it puts them together in one package. For example, they're small and pocketable, and they have lots of automated features, just like a point-and-shoot does. On the other hand, they have interchangeable, high-quality lenses and large image sensors like what you'd find in a DSLR camera. And since one of the primary strengths of this new class of cameras is the fact that you have changeable lenses, manufacturers are coming out with a growing collection of lenses, and there are lenses from third-party manufacturers, and finally there are adapters that allow you to mix and match cameras and lenses from different manufacturers. Now, the mirrorless class of cameras has become so popular that there are quite a few offerings. In this video, we're only going to cover some of the more affordable models for people who are just getting into mirrorless changeable lens cameras. One of the very newest players in this market is Nikon, with their introduction of what they're calling the Nikon 1 series cameras. Nikon has two cameras in this series. They're the J1 and the Nikon V1 model. And they're both featuring a new sensor that Nikon invented called the CX format. It's a 13.2 by 8.8 millimeter sensor. Now that means that it's going to be smaller than an APS-C or a Micro Four Thirds sensor, which is generally what you'll find in the mirrorless cameras from Sony, Olympus, Panasonic, Leica, and Samsung. But it's still much bigger than a point-and-shoot sensor would be. And one last word about the CX sensor that Nikon uses in their Nikon 1 series cameras. It has a crop factor of 2.7x. Now, the Nikon 1 V1 and the J1 have a couple of differences, beginning with the LCD resolution. It's 920,000 on the V1 versus 420,000 on the J1. And the integrated electronic viewfinder on the Nikon 1 V1 has a little over 1.4 million pixels. There is not an electronic viewfinder on the J1. Plus, the V1 accepts speed lights, GPS units, and other Nikon 1 series accessories, and the J1 doesn't. Other than that, these two cameras are really quite similar. Now, both these cameras have the Nikon 1 lens mount system. They have a 10.1 megapixel AF CMOS sensor, a 3-inch TFT LCD, and they capture stills as JPEGs and RAW, or both at the same time. They can shoot 1080p video as fast as 30 frames a second, and they have some special video modes, including still mode, slow motion video, and motion snapshot modes. The ISO range on these cameras is from 100 to 3200, and it's even expandable up to 6400. Both cameras come bundled with a 10 to 30 millimeter kit zoom lens, which is approximately equivalent to a 27 to 81 millimeter lens. Or you can get either camera in a kit with that same lens plus a 30 to 110 millimeter lens. Now, the Nikon 1 J1 is available in black, white, silver, red, and pink. And the Nikon 1 V1, it's only available in black. Olympus has quite a few cameras in this new mirrorless class, and they're all based on the Micro Four Thirds standard, and Olympus calls theirs the Olympus Pen cameras. But since we're only talking about the entry-level mirrorless class of cameras, I just want to talk about one Olympus. It's the EPM1. They call it the Olympus Pen Mini. It has a 12.3 megapixel live MOS image sensor with a TruePic 6 image processor. It shoots JPEG, RAW, or both with multiple compression ratios at up to 5 frames a second in burst mode. It shoots 1080i video at 60 frames a second with stereo audio. It has built-in image stabilization, an ISO range from 100 to 12,800 in expanded mode, a contrast detect 35-point autofocus system. The 3-inch LCD is fixed, and it has a resolution of 460,000 dots. It accepts SD, SDHC, and SDXC memory cards. And it's available in black, pink, silver, brown, purple, and white. And it comes with a 14 to 42 millimeter lens. Panasonic has several cameras in the entry-level mirrorless class, beginning with the Panasonic Lumix DMC GF3. Now this camera has a 12.1 megapixel CMOS imaging sensor supported by Panasonic's Venus Engine FHD. It's available as a body only, or with your choice of a 14 to 42 millimeter zoom or a 14 millimeter pancake lens. The resolution of the fixed position LCD screen is 460,000 dots. It captures JPEG and RAW stills, and it grabs HD video at 60 frames per second with mono sound. The still image burst rate is about 3.2 frames per second, and the ISO range is 160 up to 6400. It has a 23-point autofocus system and a built-in flash, and it uses SD, SDHC, and SDXC memory cards. It also accepts micro Four Thirds lenses and 3D optics, and it's available in black, white, brown, red, and pink. The Panasonic Lumix DMC GF2 is similar to the DMC GF3, but it's not as compact or lightweight. One other difference is that it doesn't have the photo styles and creative control processing filters that you'll find on the DMC GF3. The Panasonic Lumix DMC G3 has a 16 megapixel CMOS imaging sensor supported by Panasonic's Venus Engine FHD. You can buy the black one as a body only or in a standard kit with the 14 to 42 millimeter lens. It has a multi-angle LCD touchscreen with a 460,000 dot resolution, a built-in EVF. It captures JPEG and RAW stills at up to 4 frames per second in an ISO range of 160 to 6400. And it has a 23-point autofocus system. It can capture 1080i HD video at up to 60 frames per second with stereo sound. It has a built-in flash, and it uses SD, SDHC, and SDXC memory cards. And it accepts micro Four Thirds lenses and 3D optics. You can get that kit version available in black, white, brown, and red. And finally, in the Panasonic line of mirrorless cameras, the Panasonic DMC G2. It's really similar to the DMC G3, but it has 12 megapixels for the sensor, and it captures 720 HD video. The Pentax Q digital camera is an ultra-compact point-and-shoot style camera system with magnesium alloy body panels, and this one's the only camera in this video that has the smaller point-and-shoot style image sensor. That sensor is a 12.4 megapixel backlit CMOS sensor. The camera has a 3-inch 460,000 dot live view LCD. It captures JPEG and RAW stills at up to 5 frames per second, and it captures 1080p video. It has 25 points in the autofocus system, and it can capture HDR images, and it has a sensor shift image stabilization system built into the camera body. The ISO range is from 125 up to 6400, and this model also has auto ISO. It has a built-in pop-up flash, and it's compatible with SD, SDHC, and SDXC memory cards. It's available in black or white with an 8.5 millimeter lens or a 2-lens kit, including that same lens plus a 27.5 to 83 millimeter equivalent zoom lens. And of course, it's compatible with all the Pentax Q-mount interchangeable lenses. Sony is especially strong in this category of cameras with their NEX system cameras. They have a high-resolution APS-C size format, and it's a CMOS sensor. And that's all packed into a camera body that's comparable in size to a point-and-shoot camera. Now, the Sony NEX cameras use Sony interchangeable E-mount optics and can also be adapted to use Sony A-mount optics, as well as optics from a wide range of manufacturers if you have optional adapters. Sony's backlit CMOS sensor technologies allow for advanced image capture under the most challenging lighting conditions, and Sony software built into this camera can capture multiple images and then blend them together into an HDR image or a sweep panorama or even a noise-reduced low-light image. NEX cameras have a proprietary optional equipment port, and that allows you to add a stereo shotgun mic, an external flash, and other NEX series accessories. The Sony NEX C3 model has a 16.2 megapixel APS-C CMOS sensor and a tiltable 3-inch 920,000 dot resolution LCD. It can capture JPEG or RAW stills at up to 5.5 frames per second or 720p HD video with stereo sound, and it saves all that to SD, SDHC, or SDXC memory cards, as well as Sony Memory Stick Pro Duo and Pro HG Duo memory cards. As you can see, entry-level mirrorless cameras have some pretty impressive feature sets and options available. When you're ready to step up from a point-and-shoot camera to something with some really impressive image capture capability, or if you want a smaller camera than your DSLR, but one that still has great image quality and changeable lenses, this class of mirrorless cameras has a lot to offer. With some great entry-level mirrorless cameras, I'm Larry Becker.
For more information, please visit us online, give us a call, or stop by our New York City Superstore. You can also connect with us on the web.